Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum and the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, as well as take a look at the Ethereum USD valuation. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we're here every step of the way, right? We want to follow this through, see if it pans out, see if it doesn't. But regardless of what happens, we're going to be here every step of the way, and we're just going to be looking at, are things playing out in a way that seem to be going in the direction that we are hoping, or is there potential reason to think that it might not play out? So what we're going to do is we're just going to do what we always do and see what is Bitcoin doing, right? What is Bitcoin doing? And by looking at what Bitcoin's doing, hopefully that can better or help us understand what Ethereum could likely do over the next few months. So let's go ahead and jump in. Make sure you subscribe if you guys want to follow the move every step of the way. So the general thesis, if you follow the channel long enough, you're probably sick of me talking about it again, but is that the general downtrend of the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio happens in the fourth quarter of the year, right? We've had it here. This one started even in the third quarter, but general downtrend throughout the fourth quarter. Downtrend here throughout the fourth quarter. If we actually take some measured moves from, say, first week of October, for the next 3 months or so, we had a negative 33%. Here we had approximately a negative 65%. This was against Bitcoin. This here was approximately a negative 56% or so. Here we had another one that was at the bottom around negative 35%. And then last year, we noted that this move was coming, and it worked out for a lot of people. If you guys are super, or let's say if you've been around the channel for over a year now, you probably remember us talking about this on the channel. Let me know if you were one of those few people. I didn't have many subscribers back then, but the general idea was that, okay, we expect this move, but then we also expected this move that came in the first quarter, right? We were talking about it for months leading up to it. And in the same manner, we've been saying for months that we've been expecting a bleed of Ethereum against Bitcoin in the fourth quarter. And it's to the bottom, it's taken us around a bit down around 35%, which is what we saw 2 years ago. It's what we saw back over here. So this is pretty much just par for the course. In fact, if Ethereum did not bleed against Bitcoin during the fourth quarter, that would have been a reason to raise your eyebrows, because then it's like, oh, well, it's changing the pattern. It's not that it can't change the pattern. It's just that it's notable when it does, because I like to use patterns that we see throughout these market cycles to inform future decisions. Again, historical data does not necessarily mean it has to happen a certain way, but I like to use it to inform my decisions, and I used this pattern to inform it last year, and it worked out, and hopefully it works out this year. If you take measured moves from the bottom, having bought Ethereum with Bitcoin, say in December, 1,785% move. And then selling sometime in the first quarter. This was like a 600% move. This one was like a 350% move. This one was around an 87% move. Maybe not. I was probably liberal in how I drew that. And then this one was around a 60% move against Bitcoin. And now we're hoping for a similar thing, right? Maybe this was the local bottom. If it is, and it comes back up to this point, then it could be, a 76% move. Or if it goes up to the midway point, maybe a 43% move from the bottom. So are things playing out in a way that they could theoretically catalyze an Ether move? Yes, Ether has had a good year, right? If you look at the valuation against Bitcoin when we started the year, it was all the way down at 0.0176. So from there, it's rallied 74%. So it's been a pretty decent year, and you can see the key momentum shift right here, right? The momentum shift. If you like traditional TA, right, the double bottom, and then pattern trend reversal, right? Macro trend reversal. And so because of this, right, because of this move, we've been throughout the entire year anticipating Ether to slowly but not monotonically gain valuation against Bitcoin, right? This is what we've expected, and we continue to see it happen time and time again. And of course, we've gone through the phase of where people in general think altcoins are dead. Not saying that Ether is an altcoin, but that phase of, okay, altcoins are dead. You should just hold Bitcoin mentality right here, and then right here. But there tends to be a turnaround point, right? There tends to be a turnaround point, and hopefully we're at the beginning stages of that. Now, if we go look at the price of Bitcoin, so what's Bitcoin doing? Well, on the weekly time frame, we can notice we notice that it's possible it's doing something like it did before. If you guys remember, we talked about is 20K the new 10K, and what that means is 20K going to be this barrier that takes us a while to break in a sustainable way. If you look at 10K, we spent a lot of time trying to break it, and we actually broke it over here, but not in a sustainable manner. And then when we came back up to it, right, resistance, 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 and then finally support, also at the 20-week moving average, and then we took off, right? And so now the question, of course, is, well, is 20K now going to be our new 10K? Is it going to take a while to get above it? Yeah, we could always come above it in the short term and then drop back down. Or we might just hold it as resistance for a while and go sideways, right? I mean, we could just go sideways here, or we come back down and go sideways. If it goes sideways here, I think the Ethereum move could still happen. Sometime starting in either mid-January, or sorry, mid-December. Some of the moves have started in mid-December, or it could start sometime in January or sometime in the first quarter of the year. Now, if you look at this, it actually looks similar, and we're going to make another video. We have another video on this for Bitcoin specifically, but you can see that there are some similarities here, right? We have this move, and we had a major green candle. So from the bottom to the top of the wick is 24%. From this bottom to the top of the wick was around 20% or so. And then we had this red candle, these major wicks that extend all the way up to this local top, right? So we have this interesting weekly candle here. And then same thing here, right? Very similar story. And then after that, we had another green candle that took us back up to the top, just like here, right? Some similarities there as well. So if this were to continue to play out like it did at 10K, and we go sideways here, then I think Ether Bitcoin, there's a good chance, right? We don't know for sure, but there's at least a decent probability that it rallies, like Ether would rally against Bitcoin. And if it did rally against Bitcoin and Bitcoin were to hold the current valuation around 19,000, and if Ether were to rally back up to the top of this, then we could be looking at approximately an $800 Ether, right? I mean, this is a big move to go from 600 to 800. And of course, it all hinges on, is this pattern going to repeat? If we go sideways here, it's looking good for Ether. If we go up and then sideways, it's looking even better for Ether. If we drop to the 20-week, we'll see. Okay, this would be the scenario where it's not as clear, but even in this scenario, I contend that there still could be a move of Ether against Bitcoin. Not necessarily all altcoins, but there could be a move of Ether against Bitcoin, and that doesn't mean that Ether would necessarily. Ether would lose USD value for sure, but it might bounce back relatively quickly because Bitcoin is fairly extended right now. It's gone up over 100% in like 2 months. But this one, of course, I think would be the most uncertain because if Bitcoin's testing the 20-week, then historically speaking, you want to focus on Bitcoin accumulation during that time period and not be too not getting too much exposure in other parts of the market. But I would say that Bitcoin dropping to the 20-week would be something that could be a showstopper for the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. But if we look at other possibilities, for instance, just going sideways here or breaking 20K and then going sideways or something, I think this could also be really good for Ether. And then, of course, the other, if it just continues to rally on up, this would probably be bad for Ether Bitcoin, but would actually be really good for Ether USD, right? So maybe Ether Bitcoin would bleed if Bitcoin were to rally to like 30K or something over the next few months. But if it were to rally to 30K, Ether Bitcoin might bleed, but Ether would still probably go up in value. So it'd be kind of like the consolation prize. We're better than that, right? We don't just want to do well, we want to outperform Bitcoin, because if we can't outperform Bitcoin, then what's the point of holding Ether? So this is the entire point. Like if we're going to pay for these higher returns with more units of risk or volatility, we would expect higher returns. And if we can't get higher returns, then why do we pay for it with more volatility? It would not be a smart decision, in my opinion. This is not financial advice. So again, I think the move is still on the cards. I think it could still very well happen. Historically speaking, the move does not start until either mid-December or mid-January. And so we're still not quite there yet. Another week or two, we'd be entering into the territory where we would normally see a major move. But we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. We'll follow it every step of the way. If you guys like the content, remember to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the Telegram channel in the description below, and remember we also have the Black Friday sale going on. It'll go on for a few more days, so if you want to sign up at the lower price and lock it in, as long as you don't cancel, you'll get access to the risk metrics that I use to trade, weekly premium reports, weekly premium videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram the Telegram chat room, and then the TradingView indicators and the dynamic DCA dashboard for selling. So you get access to a whole lot of stuff. Check out the Black Friday link in the description below, and you can sign up at the lower rate for a few more days. Make sure you lock it in before the prices go back up. And there's also a lifetime option in the description below for those who want to just pay once and be done with it. I think that'll wrap it up for the video. We'll keep following Ether. It does seem like it has had a turnaround point the last few weeks, but we're still waiting. We're still waiting on a more major breakout, and we'll see if it happens. And I think it's just gonna ultimately depend on, is Bitcoin cooling off? Is it starting to print weekly candles going sideways like it did over here? If it does, then I think we're in business. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the alerts. We'll see you next time. Bye.